The night sky over the Sahara pulsed with an unnatural glow, each star seeming to hold its breath. A strange gravitational ripple coursed across the planet, warping tides and bending magnetic fields. In the far reaches of the cosmos, an ancient hunger stirred, a being older than galaxies themselves. Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, had marked Earth once again. His colossal world ship towered the cup through the darkness like a shard of godhood, its endless machinery humming with the promise of cosmic judgment. Galactus required sustenance, not for cruelty but for survival. He was the balance and the predator of stars, compelled by the universe's own design to consume planets brimming with life force. For eons, his name alone had emptied civilizations and silenced entire sectors of the Milky Way. Yet Earth was no ordinary feeding ground. From this small blue world, destiny had flared time and again, heroes and villains alike shaping the currents of the cosmos. And this time, one such force stood ready to defy the inevitable. Far beneath the shifting sands of Egypt, Nur, known across millennia as Apocalypse, sat in silent meditation within his hidden fortress. The first mutant, born in an age when man still feared the night, Apocalypse had outlasted empires and rewritten the laws of evolution through sheer will and celestial technology. His body was a tapestry of alien machinery and mutable genes, a living convergence of man and God. For centuries he had waited for the final crucible, a test worthy of his creed, only the strong shall survive. When the first tremors of Galactus's approach rattled the deepest stones of his sanctum, Apocalypse opened his eyes. They gleamed a cold cobalt, reflecting visions of the cosmos. He had seen many conquerors, celestials who had once tampered with his form, Omega-level mutants who fancied themselves gods, but this presence was different. It was not ambition that guided the Devourer, it was inevitability. Apocalypse rose, his towering form reshaping as plates of living metal slid into warlike configuration. Through his mind's network of ancient satellites and hidden sensors, he reached into the upper atmosphere. What he saw stole even his breath, a world ship the size of a small moon, blotting out constellations. Energy readings rivaled the birth of stars. This was no foe of flesh and blood. This was an event, yet fear was a stranger to Apocalypse. To him, this was the ultimate test. If Galactus succeeded, then humanity and mutant kind were unworthy of existence. If Apocalypse could resist, even for a heartbeat, he would prove that evolution's apex had already been achieved. The world's defenders were slow to react. The X-Men scrambled to assemble, the Avengers sent distress calls into the void, but Apocalypse moved first. In Cairo, pyramids of alien alloy rose from beneath the sands as he awakened ancient engines gifted by the Celestials long ago. Beams of genetic energy rippled outward, bolstering his molecular structure until he towered nearly 20 feet, a living war machine whose cells rewrote themselves with every heartbeat. He spoke to the empty air, his voice carrying across the winds. Galactus, Devourer, you seek to test the strength of this planet. You will find it exalted. Across the vacuum of space, Galactus perceived this challenge as one might notice the flicker of a candle. Yet something about the resonance of Apocalypse's will drew his attention. Few mortals dared speak his name without trembling. Even fewer radiated power steeped in the Celestials' touch. Galactus paused, his immense helm reflecting starlight, and his cosmic awareness probed the earth below. Anomalous energy, genetic potential without limit, a being who defied entropy. For the briefest instant, Galactus considered parley, but hunger burned brighter than curiosity. This world will feed the life that is mine to sustain. His voice thundered across dimensions. Stand aside, or be swept into the eternal void. Apocalypse's lips curved in something close to a smile. Then let us see, he replied, which of us the universe deems worthy. The skies roared as Tada II's engines ignited, spilling auroras of violet and gold across the stratosphere. Oceans heaved, volcanoes rumbled in sympathetic terror. From the deserts of Egypt to the frozen poles, every living thing felt the pressure of a god descending. And at the heart of it, Apocalypse stood alone, arms spread wide, welcoming the storm. Above him, the first shadow of Galactus fell across the earth like an eclipse without end. The test had begun. The desert night burned like the heart of a newborn star as Galactus descended. His colossal form dwarfed the very horizon, a moving continent of living energy wrapped in armor, older than galaxies. The sands turned to glass beneath the vibration of his arrival, and the sky split into violent auroras of violet and indigo. Apocalypse stood unmoved at the center of the storm. Around him, his celestial engines whirred, channeling energy from deep within the Earth's mantle. Plates of living metal rippled across his frame, amplifying his already godlike physique until he resembled a techno-organic colossus. Every molecule in his body shifted, adapting, strengthening. "You stand before the inevitable," Galactus intoned, his voice a resonance that shook atoms. "This planet will feed the balance of creation. Step aside, or be ended without memory." Apocalypse's eyes flared cobalt. "I am the future of all life," he answered, each word like a seismic tremor. "To take this world, you must first surpass evolution itself." Galactus raised a hand the size of a city block. Cosmic energy coalesced into a sphere of pure annihilation, power cosmic at its most refined. The air around it evaporated into nothingness. Apocalypse countered instantly, summoning a shield of adaptive plasma, its surface crawling with living circuitry. The blast struck with the force of a dying star, yet the shield held, warping and regenerating faster than it could be undone. The shockwave rippled across continents. In distant cities, glass shattered and oceans surged. Satellites burned like meteors. Heroes who had raced toward the Sahara halted in awe. This was no mere skirmish of superhumans. This was the raw collision of cosmic destiny and perfected evolution. Apocalypse retaliated. He channeled the celestial technology buried beneath the sands, sending a lattice of gravitational spears into Galactus's lower armor. Mountains of sand twisted into iron-hard projectiles, each charged with molecular disruption fields. They slammed into the world Devourer's knees with thunderous cracks, carving gashes of incandescent light across his plating. Galactus barely shifted, his eyes ignited with a cold white brilliance. "Impressive," he rumbled, "but irrelevant." A beam of compressed starlight erupted from his helm, carving a canyon miles long in the desert. Apocalypse blurred aside, his own body liquefying into nanometric mist, reforming behind the Titan's leg. He struck upward, fists multiplied into a storm of seismic hammers, each punch capable of leveling a continent. The impact reverberated like the drumbeat of creation. For the first time, Galactus staggered. The world reeled as oceans heaved and mountains trembled. Apocalypse pressed his assault, growing to match Galactus's scale, his form merging with the celestial machinery until he became a living citadel. Plasma tendrils lashed out, constricting the Devourer's limbs. His voice thundered across the void. "You will not consume what has achieved perfection." But Galactus was not merely a giant. He was a force of universal necessity. With a thought, he unleashed the full magnitude of the power cosmic. A sphere of reality warping energy expanded outward, erasing the desert for hundreds of miles. Apocalypse's constructs dissolved like smoke. His colossal form buckled, ripped apart molecule by molecule, yet he endured. Cells rewove, technology adapted. He emerged from the blinding void, smaller but undaunted, every wound transforming into new strength. "This is the crucible," he growled, voice ragged but resolute. "I will not be found wanting." Galactus regarded him with something approaching curiosity. So few mortals had ever withstood his hunger this long. "Your defiance is remarkable," he said, the words carrying a strange gravity, "but even evolution bows to the cosmos." He raised both hands, and the sky itself tore open. A vortex of raw creation, energy drawn from the birth of stars, spiraled downward. Apocalypse braced, his adaptive armor glowing with stolen fragments of celestial code. He hurled every reserve of power into a single desperate strike, a beam of genetically charged force designed to rewrite Galactus at the molecular level. For an instant, the desert became daylight, brighter than any sun. Two forces collided, one born of survival, the other of inevitability. The clash sent ripples through the fabric of reality, visible from lunar orbit as a pulse of pure white radiance. When the light faded, Apocalypse knelt in the center of a crater that stretched to the horizon. His armor smoked, his once limitless reserves faltering. Above him loomed Galactus, unbroken, a silhouette of infinite hunger. "You have proven," Galactus said, his voice softer but absolute, "that this world breeds champions worthy of remembrance. Yet necessity remains. I shall not feed today, but this planet's reprieve is not eternal." He turned, his titanic form lifting effortlessly back toward the heavens.